Hey, what's up? Let's talk Ironman 70.3 Boulder on August 1st, 2020. Time of this recording is March 23rd, and things are looking a little different in the landscape of as far as just kind of life in general and what the race season is going to look like, what the new normal is going to look like, and all those buzzwords you want to use. But we here at Set-Based Triathlon, which is just me, Ryan, are going to move forward like until the races show up on the updated Ironman list as postponed or canceled or moved or rescheduled. Going to go ahead and plan as if they are happening as scheduled. So that being the case, we're going to take some assumptions out of it or some guesses out of it, and we're going to go ahead and talk about the race venue a little bit more, because if the race happens, it'll still be out at the Boulder Reservoir, 99% likely. Just the timing of it could be the part in question. But we're going to go over and talk specifically today about the run course at Ironman Boulder 70.3. So we've talked about the swim and the reservoir, not super crazy. Could be wetsuit legal. So I'd definitely bring a wetsuit, bring a speed suit. Super calm waters, except for the jet skis and stuff, and run around, keep track of everybody. The bike, as you see on the website for the race, it says hilly. I think that's a little bit of a misnomer. When you're going up towards the flat irons and the base of the mountains and everything, you don't get up the mountains, and it's not super hilly. It's just you got a few long, kind of slow climbs. They're not super steep except for one little section, but there will be some climbing. And you want to manage your energy, manage the wind, manage your nutrition, manage your hydration, because that is going to majorly big time affect your run. Because in August, you're going to be in the middle of summer. It's not going to be as intense. Personally, I'm from Kansas City and training around here. And using the summer, I mean, we're hitting the heat index 100, 110, and it's kind of miserable outside. It's hot, it's humid. You just can't get a respite. But in Boulder, when you're up in altitude, you don't really necessarily have to worry as much about humidity. But you do have to worry about the heat. You do have to worry about dehydration. If you don't manage that on the bike, it will bite you in the ass on the run, because you're not going to catch up on hydration on the run. Trust me, I've done this race 3 times now. One time I nailed it. 2 other times didn't so much and paid the price on the run with either cramping, GI distress, and just kind of overheating and dehydration, and it's not fun. So hopefully you've done your bike well. You've watched my overview of the bike course, know where to manage your effort, know where to manage your hydration, your nutrition, and all that stuff. And also, sunscreen is going to be important too, because on the run, when you go to the courses, loading, and you go to the run, you've got 2 loops. It used to be you go all the way around the reservoir, but this time they're taking you out and back. And this house was when I did the race in 2018, so it's a little bit different. You're not going totally around the reservoir. You're running out on this little trail system and running out and coming back, and then running all the way out and coming back and U-turn around. So it's a little bit, that second loop, and unfortunately it's a little bit disheartening, because you run almost to the finish line and then you have to turn around and go back. I mean, I guess with your running 2 loops, you still have to do that, but still, it's a little bit disheartening. You have to come in there and run by. See the point where you could finish up and run right into the finish line and be done. But don't cut the course. Don't do that. Don't be that person. But anyway, so for the most part on this trail system, this is going to be, when you cross the dam, it's going to be gravel. So be ready for that. Be ready for uneven surfaces, loose gravel, loose rocks, and everything. But once you get out on 63rd Street, then you get into some pavement areas. You get back on a Monarch Road. That, I believe, is paved, but once you hit these little side roads back here, it is crushed gravel again, dirt roads. So just be prepared. It's not going to all be pavement running. You're going to have some gravel. You're going to have some loose gravel. You're going to have some dirt. If it's raining, there's going to be mud. Or if it has rained, if it's been wet at all, there's going to be mud. So be prepared for that, and be prepared. On Monarch Road, there's a few spots where you'll have some trees, but not very many. So you're going to be back out here, and you're going to be fully exposed to the sun for the most part. It's going to be in the heat of the day. So like I said, manage your bike to manage the run. So hopefully you've come off the bike 1 or 2% dehydrated at most. So when you come off the bike, you're going to fall behind on hydration, so that's a given. But hopefully you've managed to the point where right as you cross the finish line, you've managed to the best you can, and you cross the finish line in good shape. So make sure you do that. But for the most part, I mean, if you look down at the elevation course, gain at 344 feet is not super critical. I mean, there's like a slow little uphill. I mean, you don't even really notice it all that much. It's not like super monster climbs right up off the bat. It's not like steep little rollers or anything. It's just a gradual climb as you come out of transition. You run up the road, hit 63rd Street, it's a little bit uphill, and then you hit Mark Road flat, and you come back, and you have a nice little downhill in transition. So that would be nice on the last loop. You get to kind of run downhill into the elevation. Like I said, the main thing to keep in mind here is the surface will be, as I said, gravel, loose gravel, be asphalt. There'll be some dirt roads, gravel roads, be all kinds of different surfaces to deal with. If it's dry, it's not a huge problem, but just be aware so you don't accidentally, especially when you're on the dam side of it, you don't slip on a rock, twist your ankle or anything. Bake you because you're in full on exposure here, and make sure you're hitting the aid stations, knowing where they're at, making sure you're staying up on hydration, especially in that first loop. So you come through, do the first loop, and then come make a U-turn, and come back and do the same exact loop, and then come in transition. So, or come into the finish line. So like I said, the key is to make sure you're prepared on the bike, and then when you're getting off the run, you're sunscreened, you've got the proper hydration strategy going into it, because you're going to lose a lot of liquids. You're going to sweat a lot, even though you may not notice it. It's probably going to evaporate off of you. You're really not going to be that wet, but you will sweat a lot on this run. You will lose it through your breath. You'll lose it through sweat because it'll immediately evaporate because you're at altitude, and you just won't notice it. So make sure you are hitting those aid stations, keeping fluids going, especially in that first loop. That's going to be super critical. So critical, manage the bike, hydration, nutrition. Coming off the bike, manage the hydration big time, especially in this first loop. Especially, once you get to this last little section here, you're coming back in for the last 2 or 3 miles. If you got to that point, hopefully you can kind of stretch it through. But if you're getting to that second loop and you're already kind of feeling down, maybe you start cramping, you have GI distress, it's going to be a long, trust me, 2017 was a little rough for me. Hit that second loop, and there's a lot of walking going on and a lot of fuzziness because I was just super dehydrated. So I had to walk and hydrate the aid stations, and kind of pepped up a little bit towards the end and was able to kind of jog it in for the finish. But it's not exactly happy with my finish at that point in time. But the year after did a much better job of managing hydration and nutrition, and finished pretty strong. I think like 501. So I was very happy with that result. But that was kind of, like I said, I nailed the bike and the run, nutrition, hydration. That's going to be key. Because again, the run course isn't super challenging. There's not a bunch of elevation gains, so you're not going to have to really worry about that. It's just finding that either high zone 2, low zone 3 heart rate range, and just kind of staying there, finding your zone, good run form, being aware of your footing so you don't slip on rocks or anything, and just paying attention to your nutrition and hydration. So other than that, there's not a super difficulty level to this course, the run course specifically. But you just got to play the game right. You got to plan it out and make sure that you're prepared for this run. So typically, that's kind of all that I go over. It's not super, like I said, this course isn't super technical as far as the run goes. There's not a bunch of hills to make sure you hold back for or anything like that. The key is going to be managing that first loop, hydration, nutrition, sunscreen, just to make sure you're prepared for that long haul for that last loop. And I would come out of transition super easy. First 1 or 2 miles, make sure you got nutrition, your hydration going, you got a nice pace, keep a good form, and just focus on that form the entire time. So when you get to mile about 10 or 11, if you think you have a little bit extra, that's the time that can maybe turn on a little bit, and speed to the finish line, and have a good strong finish. And with that kind of concludes my overview of the run course for Boulder 70.3. If you got any questions, as always, email me back, comment, do anything, smoke signals, whatever you got to do. I'll always try to get back to people. And that is it for this video, and we will talk to you all later. Have a good race.